Hey there. With this one, I'm hearing there are two parts to play. So, in addition to just some oracle cards for context, I have two tarot decks instead of one here. So, there are two parts to play. I'm going to get some cards on the situation as a whole and then see what two parts there are to play and what energies we might be talking about in this instance. Alright, got Guevara Daisy, Purity, Cheerfulness, and Innocence, Tulip, Friendship and Gratitude, Oxinia, Love at First Sight, and Proud Spirit. It's interesting because there's both like a softness and an intensity to this. It's like pure-hearted but not naive. Like there's a sense of, and this does feel like some kind of connection, but a connection that is connected to other areas of life rather than just, like love specifically. So I think that, like, for this message, like, if this is your message, then, like, the description of the different parties and connection should resonate with, someone that you're in some sort of, connection or conversation with already. And this is more like looking at exploring the ways that you grow and shift and like adapt to one another within the connection rather than identifying like who it is. Like it should be obvious to you, I guess, already who this is. I think that this is a connection that may have started as a friendship, even if someone like already was attracted or like had feelings with the like friendship and gratitude and love at first sight. There's this sense of I would have been happy like just being your friend. Like that would have been enough. Um, but I think that there was more to it, which like that also kind of plays into the like sweetness of this of like if this person has said like I would have I'd be okay with just being friends, like they didn't mean it, and that didn't mean that they didn't have like any more feelings to it, but they didn't mean that like genuinely. And so I think that this evolved from a very heartfelt place where it's like very much wanting the best for you, wanting to be the best for you. So I want to look at each person in the connection. We'll start with this other person since I was kind of already like talking about that energy and see like what part do they have to play here. And then we'll look at like your energy there, maybe how you're being perceived and what part you have to play and how this kind of connects to other areas of life since that seems to be the theme of the reading. You have the Seven of Cups, the World, the Seven of Wands, and the Ten of Cups. So I think that this person, needs to or has been in the process of accepting the idea of getting what they want, accepting the idea of like moving out of waiting mode, out of defense mode, out of survival mode, and like just existing, like just being, and allowing someone else to be with them rather than considering at every corner, like what compromise am I going to have to make? What is this going to cost me? Just like accepting. And I think that there's something here like related to career with the Seven of Cups in the world that like this person may have made a choice that is being solidified somewhat by this partnership as far as what they're doing with their career choices. which I think that like something about this connection and the way that you show up for this person is not necessarily taking away their reservations maybe about everything that they've chosen, because I think that every career has its has its pros and its cons, its advantages and drawbacks. Like if you're picking a very high stress, high hours career, especially in relation to partnership, you might worry like, oh, what if I can't give enough to the partnership? Or, what if it puts stress on that? If you're picking a career that's like, for example, a stay at home parent, there could be the inverse stress, which is like, oh, well, what if my partner doesn't appreciate this, or what if, it creates a financial burden? And I think that like some of those logistics are things that are still being like worked through for this person. But I think that like for the first time, perhaps there's this sense of peace or certainty in the choice, like this sense of it will get figured out. It will get figured out with the 10 of cups there. And I think that obviously I don't know the situation exactly, but I do think that whatever choice this person made with both like the world and the 10 of cups, despite the doubts, despite the reservations, the sevens like interspersed in there, this is a positive choice. This is a positive choice. What else about this person? Nine of Pentacles, Three of Pentacles. That's a lot. We'll start with this and then get to those. So with the Nine of Pentacles and Three of Pentacles, I think that like the choice that this person made is also going to be supportive of you. It's like if this person was the one who picked like the high powered, high paying career, this may be someone who then, wants to invest in your education or, your career or something, or if it's like the inverse, this could be someone who's providing support to you while you're going through school or working long hours. But there's something here about like this person realizing that, the choice that ultimately like they made for themselves. I don't think that this is like I made this choice to like quit the job that I loved for someone. This is more of like I made a choice and now this person is like validating that choice on some level. Um, I think that it's going to be like important for them to see the way that like the choice that they made is good for you and like good for the situation as a whole. We have the Ace of Wands, the Moon, the Sun. I love that we got the Sun and the Moon right after each other. The High Priestess and the Empress. So this is like stepping into some like heavy duty feminine energy here for this person. Um which can mean different things for different people, but like with this High Priestess and Empress specifically, I think that this person's like creativity and intuition and passion and like ability to show up and be receptive to a partner is in some way like determined by whether or not like they feel safe in that more feminine energy. And I think that like this has like sparked something for them because we're starting out with the Ace of Wands, sparked something for them that initially might bring up some anxiety because I think it impacts a lot of areas of their life. Um, and I don't think that this is like a sense of like, oh, this person is changing for you or because of you, so much as it is like this person sort of like feeling more safe to take the version of themselves that they cultivated in the dark, with the moon there, the part of them that kind of like lingers within the subconscious or the unspoken, and bring that to light. And I think that that's something that is going to like very much like rapidly shift to these other areas. Like I'm getting that this is someone who, maybe in their most fully embodied state is, a very creative and compassionate and wise person, but I think like may have been kind of in this defensive mode that I was talking about, like this uncertain mode, like this sense of all of the mental energy is being eaten up by the what if, and the how do I deal with the what if, how do I confront the what if, blah blah blah, da 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 da, etc etc. And I think that like you give this person like space to just breathe and to just feel like secure there. I think that there's like a lot of gratitude for that. And I think that this is someone who's going to like turn around and find a way to, like make your life better for it. It's kind of like the give them a house and make it a home like type of deal. Um and like I said, I feel like this impacts a lot of areas of life. Like it may have been that, some of the success or the drive or the passion that this person needed in order to like step into other areas of life, in order to like really shine in whatever it is that they're doing, was like hard to access. Like that energy was all tied up in these other things. And like once it's not tied up in that, it's kind of like a chain reaction that lights things up. Um, I'm hearing like blossoming. Like you're gonna watch someone blossom in a lot of areas of life, and I think that there's something about like the way that, yeah, they're giving me like a garden metaphor. It's like like blossoming, and you have like this satisfaction of knowing that you were someone who came in and like watered that garden. You were someone that cultivated that supported that, and I think like that's a beautiful thing. And I think, again, where I was talking about like this person turning around and like offering you support in return too, I think is an important thing. Um, because this seems very much like the energy of someone who doesn't always like say it. Like this feels like there's kind of like a sense of elegance to this, social elegance. Like this is not someone who's going to be like verbally keeping score or demanding with things, but this is someone who notices. This is someone who notices, like, who's pouring into the garden and who just comes to pick the flowers and leave. And I think that there's a sense of like already the way that you show up for this person is noticed. It's noticed, it's appreciated, and I think that in return, like again, it's like whatever success or stability or abundance looks like within the realm of what this person's going into is something that's going to be shared with you, that's going to be used to benefit you, which I think I'm telling you this because it's like that's not the reason that you did it. But I think that like you do deserve to know that that is appreciated, and in whatever capacity is capable, it is reciprocated. I don't know about you, what role you play. I like how we got the like Queen of Cups first and foremost. She's there with the water in the cup, and I was talking about you being the one that waters the garden. Um, and then we also got the Page of Wands and the Queen of Wands. I feel like a lot of the way that you show up for this person is emotionally and in energy, like being someone who's like very compassionate, but also like very excited. It's like, if someone had a bad day, you're gonna be like, oh, like, do you want to talk about it? Or, can I get you your favorite food or something? But it's like then you're also like equally like fired up when, this person is like, hey, I had this like really successful thing happen at work, and or hey, I had this idea for this project I wanted to do. There's like this sense of like you're very good at matching the vibe, at sort of like taking whatever someone gives you and getting excited about it, getting knowing like where the care needs to be applied. And I like that because it's like this versatility and this responsiveness. Two of Swords, Three of Cups, Four of Pentacles, Six of Swords. So I think you may be in the position of some uncertainty in other areas of your life. With this Three of Cups, it may have something to do with like friends, social circle, how you manage that, or also with the Six of Swords, like Four of Pentacles, potentially like moving away from things that, you held on to pretty tightly in the past. And I think that there's like an important message here that, you are someone who throughout your life has learned to like hold on to what matters to you, learn to hold on to what's precious to you, learn to take care of that. And if you're being put in the position of feeling like there are things that you want to let go of, that's like an intuitive message in and of itself. Um, and you don't have to worry about like letting go of the wrong thing because if you recall in the past, I think a lot of the things that you let go of were things that ended up, being for the best. And I think that you were able to hold on to a lot of yourself and the connections that did matter, you know? And so there's something here about releasing the doubt that you have about where you feel drawn, because this doesn't feel like the energy of any kind of like hard ultimatum or difficult situation. This feels more like, you find your mind, your emotions, your time, your focus sort of like shifting in new ways. um and I think that there's also something here about like integration. We have the Four of Swords and then the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords, Ace of Cups. This feels like an aside. This feels like the integration card here, where it's almost like the advice that they're giving me is if you feel like uncertain about something, whether that's like saying something or, making a change, whatever, sleep on it, see how you feel. Sleep on it and see how you feel. And if like you still feel that way afterwards, or even like feel more strongly that way, that's a pretty good indicator that that's like your body, your energy telling you the direction to move in. But I want one more card on this Seven of Swords, Ace of Cups. Okay, well, we got two more cards. The Three of Swords and the Fool. I'm hearing false start. False start. It's kind of interesting. It's like even when I try and like tap into that part of the energy, it's like it kind of just goes quiet. It kind of just goes quiet. Um, I feel like someone or something either recently has or soon will, has offered you something that was a false start. It seemed promising at first with like the Fool and the Ace of Cups, like maybe you started to get some feelings about that. Um, this does feel like something that was like maybe in the past. Um, Started to get some feelings, but then it kind of got cut off. And I think that, there's a little bit of deception going on here with maybe someone appreciating your feelings, but not necessarily, like, appreciating the attention, but not necessarily wanting to take that further. Um, and I think that you're pulled away from this situation because of the fact that, like, it was not leading anywhere good. This was sort of something that would continue to perpetuate itself as long as you would give it attention. And I think if this is a situation that you're still involved in some way, I mean, point blank, the advice from Spirit is you might want to give this one a rest. You might want to pull back from this, because I think that even when you're not as aware of it, with the Seven of Swords there's something about this other energy that kind of like pulls at your emotions, not in like a deeply rooted way that feels like, up here we have like this Queen of Cups, where it's like actually giving you a chance to show up fully, a chance to pour in. This feels more like take the money and run type of thing. And, even if you have pulled back a little bit, like 10 of Swords on the bottom, this just might not be a good situation to invest yourself in at all. I think it may leave you feeling fragmented and not knowing why. Feeling drained and not knowing why. This just doesn't really feel like a great person, or if it's like a workplace or opportunity or whatever else, it just doesn't feel like a great one to have in your life. I'm gonna be honest here. Um, that might be someone to cut out or something to avoid. If you want to be moving forward. This is so interesting. When like I tapped into this, it felt like I was just like on a completely different plane than like the rest of the energy from this reading over here, like a completely different vibe than this other person that like we're talking about you being in connection with. Entirely different vibe. And so I think that like as long as you're sort of extending yourself to move into this energy, it's going to be moving you away from this connection, even if it's not like this is romantic rival type of thing. It's just like a very different headspace. A very different headspace in the way that it sort of just like keeps looping in that false start. I feel like that's the main advice. Anything else for this person here? Eight of Wands. I think you do that. And the King of Swords. There's going to be some energy moving again, and I think like some increased mental clarity. This feels a little foggy, and this feels like some more clarity. I think that you already have an understanding of the truth. It's just sort of a matter of getting all of the energy to move in a way that reflects that, and feeling confident speaking that truth. I think there's something here about like speaking the truth that you already know to all of the people in your orbit, um, and having some confidence in the people who let you show up fully and who appreciate you for doing that. So I think that's about it for this. This was kind of a fun one. I might do a style like this again, but anyways, hopefully that helps, and yeah, best of luck out there.